Game number 2, let's introduce our players. Starting in the top left, we have from Team Complexity, formerly of Root and FXO, it is QXC Kevin Riley, the recent graduate from Harvey Mudd College, also known as the Bandana Terran.
That's right. And of course, down here in the bottom right-hand corner, the what do we call Damaga?
The Red Zerg. The
muscle
Zerg.
We need a new. That's Happy Zerg.
Oh, the frozen River Zerg.
That works. That works. The frigid Zerg.
The Tundra Zerg.
The
Arctic Zerg.
I'm just gonna call him Iceberg.
Iceberg. Isn't that your nickname in high school, Ben? You're giving him your nickname. I mean, when you're not necessarily called MrBitter, you're called Iceberg.
No, that's taken out of context. Yeah, when I played sports in middle school, and they called me Iceberg.
Oh, middle school.
Because they said I was cool as an iceberg.
In terms of your personality or your ability to end the game?
All of the above.
Oh, Ben. I imagine the trends you were setting in the late 90s with all your middle school antics.
I used to
I bet you were the one who brought Pogs to school, right?
I did bring Pogs to school.
And you were the one that was like playing with Crazy Bones and all that stuff.
I have no idea what Crazy Bones
really
are.
Maybe that's maybe I'm reaching a little bit too early then. Or too late. I think that's I probably got popular when I was in middle school, so about 3 years later.
Pokemon Red and Blue came out when I was in middle school.
1998. 1999. Wow. That's a long time ago, man.
Those are the first Pokemon.
I remember going to Pokemon and getting banned from even having a Game Boy because they found out like Game Boys existed. I don't know. It was a new thing at the time. And I remember having a Game Boy and I was playing under my desk, but I was pretending like I was really sick. But I think I was trying too hard to hide that I had a Game Boy, because every 5 minutes I'll be like, oh, I don't feel well. And finally she came over to see how I was doing, and then she found out I was playing a Game Boy. I'd be like the worst spy in the world, man.
Wow, man.
I'd be like, I'm definitely not trying to infiltrate your country and find out all your secrets. Like, why are you here in our country at customs?
Dan's like, he infiltrates the White House, is like a chef. And he's like, yeah, so what would the president like for dinner tonight? Maybe I should ask him myself. I really think I should ask the president myself what he would like for dinner tonight.
It's like, what are you going to do with all those knives? Like, prepare a special meal. It would be, man.
Are you trying to assassinate the president? I'm definitely not trying.
I love my country. I really do love America, though, Ben. It's
the greatest country in the world, Dan.
Well, I hope we can regain some of that swagger that we had in a couple
And I can say that because I'm an indoctrinated patriotic.
Yes. Oh, you are. True on all points. Oh, look at this. From Dimaga, he scouts the proxy starport. And QXC, of course, has no vision of that south side.
Yep, nice catch there by Damaga. He's going to be able to see this and prepare for it. And QXC is probably going to be very upset when he goes to float in with those Banshees.
How did he know?
Hex. Actually, no, it's going to be probably a Hellion drop, I think.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think you're right, Ben. On the money, because he was on 1 gas. Good observation. I think QXC shouldn't... Actually, he still can do a lot of damage, because it's not like Damaga has a lot of units. He's still droning.
Yep, Damaga, I think, is assuming the same thing that we both initially assumed, that it's just going to be some kind of Banshee play, but a mass Hellion drop up into the main is going to be tough for Dima to deal with.
Well, it's funny because he has a Hellion baiting all the queens into the main, and then he wants the Hellion run right at the natural as well to kill a bunch of these drones. Now, it is before the Spine Crawler finishes. Damaga forced to pull a lot of these drones, but they are very weak, within 1 Hellion stream away from dying. Boom! Ouch. That wasn't that big, but
1 drone down.
That's still not that big. There we go, the 3rd shot. And QXC manages to pick off a huge amount of drones.
3rd time's a charm. Well played, QXC gets 11 drones there. Knocks Damaga down to just 25 harvesters. There is a medevac out on the map to drop if QXC feels so inclined.
Oh, I like this too. QXC following up with a Viking to clear out some of the overlords. Damaga doing a very smart thing as well, spreading creep into the main. And that's just going to force a lot of, it's going to speed up a bunch of the units. QXC, though, going to the main uncontested. Damaga not paying
a little bit
attention.
slow to react here. Pulls the drones. They are going to be awfully stacked up. Queens and Lings going to try to deal with these Hellions. Doing some okay damage, but QXC looks like he's going to find the drone line and another big shot. And one more big shot. QXC doing fantastic amounts of damage to Damaga's economy. 22 workers killed. It is now 30 SCVs to 21 drones. QXC in a fantastic position.
Wow. Well, QXC now starting his expansion and going directly into 3 factory play. Mech is strong on Ohana, short push distance, combined with a reduced amount of counterattack paths.
Let's talk a little bit about the mind games that QXC is playing right now. He played a style that looked a lot like Mech for a long time, but actually ended up going bio on Daybreak. Yeah. Now he's playing a style that looks almost identical. And Damaga may not end up reacting the same way. There's still no Roach Warren, so...
Oh, yeah, you're right, Ben, and that's going to be very difficult because Damaga has to replace all of his larvae anyways with drones. And Damaga is under constant pressure. Now, granted, I mean, QXC, his attacks are becoming less and less effective, and Damaga's been able to stabilize relatively well. And his starport is far away, which is kind of annoying if QXC ever wanted to really make anything more. But I like the incorporation of it, you know. Make a Vetevac, then make a Viking, clear out all the Overlords, although, ironically, the Overlord that set everything else off, the alarm bells, is still alive.
That's right. That MVP Overlord that actually kind of ended up working against Damaga.
Yeah, I gave him too much information. Psyched him out as a result. Damaga now climbing back into the drone count, starting +1/+1 Zergling upgrades.
So he has misread this situation, kind of like we said in QXC. He's on 3 factory right now. He's going to go right into Thor production. No Blue Flame research just yet, but Blue Flame Hellions are obviously excellent against any number of Zerglings.
Yes. Blue Flame Zerglings. Oh, sorry, Blue Flame.
Wow, I want those.
They have a bonus damage to like drones and stuff. They just light every single probe on Blue Flyer.
I would love Blue Flame Zerglings. Luciferon makes Blue Flame Medivacs, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, those things are insane. He just like drops the Hellions and picks them up so fast that it looks like Medivacs are practically shooting. Again, another run by forcing so many Zerglings and Queens. Damaga can't mind. QXC just doing light pressure and saves all of the Hellions. While he's getting up his own Thor count, Thor is, of course, to make himself safe against any kind of early mutas, as well as gives him some strong backbone to the army. Meanwhile, we see QXC finally starting to take gases 3 and 4 and really going to commit to a hardcore amount of mech production. But again, harassing with the Hellions, Ben, this is just so annoying.
Yeah, relentless harass. QXC's looking so good. This is really the best QXC we've ever seen. Finally, Damaga will trap these Hellions. And we'll kill all of them.
The Medivac
as well as the Medivac.
Hero.
But QXC has been so tough, and he's just going to run right back up with 2 more Hellions. He says, hey, guess what? It's still not over. And Damaga's like, yes, it is, QXC. Go away.
Well, QXC will have to stay away for a little bit. He has Thors, which reduces his mobility considerable amount. One thing that's interesting, though, is QXC really hasn't prioritized upgrades. We've been seeing Terran players really try to start those armory upgrades. That way they're very resilient against, well, especially Zerglings. Zerglings, if they get surrounded on the Thor, they barely do any damage. If they get like a quick +2 armor, especially with Blue Flame as well. That kind of stuff in combination just roasts the Zerglings to the ground. But QXC's pushing out. Now, this is a timing that we're not very used to seeing. What do you think about this, Ben?
I think it's not going to do too much. Maybe I'm wrong because there's a good count of Hellions there, but Blue Flame's not quite ready yet. Damaga's got his Baneling Nest finishing. He's got a lot of Zerglings in production. I think Damaga should be just fine. Supply-wise, it looks like QXC has way more than Damaga does, but...
Oh, man, these Thors work on Spore Callers really quickly. Queen's now also there. Now, they can take a huge amount of damage. Ooh, they're transfusing the Spine Caller very nicely, but... the Queens are also being targeted very quickly. Look at how fast the units dies, and the SCV's there also to repair the unit's Thors. Sure, they take a little bit of pecking damage, but there's nothing really a concern.
Actually, Damaga might be in some trouble here. Hellions are going to make their way up into the natural expansion. Baneling's about to finish. There's no Bailey speed. QXC's got a... Ooh, Damaga.
Damaga also trying to go for Baneling, trying to crash into the Thors, or trying to crash into the SCVs, and he will be able to catch a lot of them. Very nicely done, but Damaga has lost so much in order to defend against this, and he's going to lose even more. Blue Flame is done.
Uh-oh. There is a roach warren. Damaga needs some roaches, but he's definitely going to lose some more workers here as QXC gets up into the natural massive worker losses. Damaga doing a nice job of really microing for what he can, right? He's saving what he can, but at the end of the day...
He saved none of the drones.
Every drone falls. 48 workers killed in total. 54 SCVs remain against 25 Zerg drones. And Damaga is in a really, really rough spot. 30 supply against 100 supply, Dan. This is not a position that anybody would be comfortable playing from.
Nope. Not... I'm trying to think of any Zerg player in the world that can come back from here. It's one of the toughest situations imaginable because you're hurting on every single front. Your economy, your queens also just died, so you have to remake your queens.
Yeah, and he doesn't feel like he can drone, right? He's making more units because he feels so scared. So he's even going to be slower to recover than he would have been if he'd just gone straight back into droning. Now we do finally see 11 drones in the production tab as Damaga spots that QXC is going to be taking his third base. Oh, man. QXC, I am so impressed. He is playing.
I love the switch into tanks as well because they realize Zerg could have tech developed by now. Starting to also add more factories. QXC playing this scenario almost perfectly. He's even walling off. Very nice. Preventing any kind of counterattack would be the last piece to the missing puzzle for one final push as soon as siege tanks come out for siege mode. And I think QXC will be able to ride his momentum all the way home, thus barring any catastrophic mess-ups.
Yes, sir. 130 supply against about 75 supply. Damaga trying so hard to bounce back, making drones 14 at a time. He's going to be up over 50 harvesters in just a second. He's going to need those harvesters if he's got any chance of salvaging this game. Single Hellion going to make his way down to the back of the third base. There will be a queen there to greet it.
And this Hellion is just confirming what QXC saw. It says, well, that's not good saturation. There's no gas at the third base. I should be able to piece things together. I like this a lot, too. Incorporation of Banshees into your composition, especially considering your opponent's already restricted on amount of units. That kind of softening up on the roaches is invaluable.
Now, Damaga has done an okay job of reestablishing some semblance of an economy. He's up to 60 harvesters now. He's beginning to produce roaches. His upgrades are so Zergling-centric. It's really unfortunate for Damaga that that he sort of fell for the mind game, right? He tried to play a Zergling style in the game that he needed to play roaches, just like on Daybreak when he tried to play a roach style in the game that he needed to play with Zerglings. QXC's out on the map once more, 170 terrifying Terran supply.
Oof. And he's got a Banshee even to boot. Siege mode is done, and QXC has all the tools that he could ever dream to make this push successful. He's killing off a lot of the creep tumors, restricting mobility, as well as getting a good sense of the army composition. But that is it. Those roaches and banelings you see on the screen, that's all he's got. Damaga's got 15 roaches and 12 banelings. He's got more overlords than units.
Do you believe in miracles is the question, as Damaga's going to have to find the most ideal, most perfect engagement ever imagined. Does pick off a Thor pretty much for free there.
That's nice.
QXC's tanks are mostly, or were out of range of that initial engagement. Damaga also finishes tunneling claws, which gives him a little bit more flexibility in engaging this mech army. Oh, roaches, don't do that.
Yes, be very careful. That should kind of provoke QXC to make a Raven or a Band. The Queen drawing attention away from the fire. Oh, Damaga, can you pull this off? You're getting right underneath the units. He is making a lot more. Bangs are now starting to roll in. Roaches unburrow. That empowers the Bangs to roll in. The Hellions are not paying attention, and a lot of them get picked off. Damaga, with the best engagement he could have dreamed of in this scenario, takes out the Thors.
Unbelievable.
And he managed to defend the transfuses on the roaches to keep them longer in the battle. The Banshees are also getting whittled down by the Queens.
Impossible defense made possible by Damaga. This incredible play brought to you by Ukraine. As Damaga is going to push all the way back to QXC's side of the map. Now, it's still not necessarily a winning situation for Damaga, as QXC has taken a fourth base, still has a strong defensive position. It's going to be quite difficult for Damaga to actually find any openings here. Damaga also taking a fourth base. He's going to have to rebuild all of his queens and needs to drone up a little bit more, but all of a sudden we have a game on our hands.
That was amazing, man. man. I just be able to watch that kind of play unfold underneath us. That's what we're saying. You know, QXC could benefit from using a Raven in that composition. Some players like to make it after a second Banshee, but in this scenario, Dimaga does manage to stabilize a lot still, though. He doesn't necessarily have a good amount of gas income. He's kind of been playing very, unit heavy, and as a result, his upgrades aren't even, or sorry, his tech isn't that far developed. He doesn't have infestors out into the field. He has the infestation pit, but no pathogen glands.
Yeah, I mean, he's had to make a couple trade-offs just to stay alive here, but he's trying oh so hard to salvage this game. QXC making a Raven now, doesn't want to fall for the same trick twice.
Hellion run by at the 4th base, killing off the majority of the drones. Wow, even shooting at some of the queens from certain angles to kill off the drones. That stings. Damaga doesn't have much gas, but he's going to drop a Spire. That's interesting.
He's preparing his, I think he's just preparing his in-game tech. He could start Hive at any time now. Even a handful of mutas could be game-changing when there are no Thors out on the map. And right now, there are no Thors out on the map.
Right, QXC's remaking them. He scanned and saw, though. Nice scan by QXC.
One thing that QXC is doing so impressively well is he's constantly expanding. His 5th base is now down. Damaga does not have any idea that it's there either. He's completely in the dark. And as if by some divine happenstance, he's going to run some Zerglings over there. He will spot this Planetary. And he's going to try to do something about it. He actually may kill this Planetary. So
I mean, there's no SCVs in spot, but he might get trapped by the remainder of the Terran forces. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Ben. That's going to be very difficult. Damaga's going to take some heavy losses.
Dicey. Siege tanks and Hellions against Mass Roach. Damaga's going to kill as many of these tanks as he can, but it's not going to be that many.
Well,
the damage output in this Terran army.
The Queen flank, Ben. The Queens! Now they're within melee range. The Queens!
Wow, actually every siege tank's going to end up falling. That was hilarious. Damaga's Queens are battle-tested. Yes. And they have come out on top once more. Hellions, though, still being very frustrating in Damaga's 4th base. More roaches popping out. They will clean up, but not before more drones get roasted. Dima has lost 67 workers this game. He only has 55 drones out.
That's really tough on Damaga. He would love to get gases number 7 and H. In fact, would love to even utilize this Spire tech, but he doesn't even have queens. In fact, Damaga... Oh, actually, never mind. He does have queens. Why is he making 4 queens then? Because
Damaga likes to play Mass Queen in the late game. Definitely against mech. Queen Broodlord is impeccable.
It's super strong
in the late game. Hive's done. Greater Spire has not started yet, but it's very common that we see Damaga using these Mass Queen playstyles later on. And even through the mid game, these queens give him an actual fighting answer to the Banshees. And it's a much cheaper option than making, infestors or corruptors or mutas or hydras. The queens, it's just 150 minerals. And they do get kind of supply intensive, but they offer so much utility.
Yeah, much cheaper than Baneling spores, right?
Mm-hmm. Even though that would be much more awesome.
Baneling spores would do massive damage against Banshees because it's light.
It's not a Baneling spore. It's a spore cannon.
A spore cannon that shoots.
Yeah, you get the upgrade on layer tech at your Evo chamber, and it turns your spore into
it's basically like a Zerg static form of a Reaver.
It's not static. It can unburrow and move.
Okay, so it's basically the Zerg version of a Reaver.
It's like he could bring it forward on the edge of his creep and launch Banelings at the stores. That would be so awesome. I don't understand why this isn't implemented. Maybe in Legacy of the Void.
Can you snipe the Banelings mid-air too? And then
of course.
That'd be so sick.
Phoenixes run and grab with Graviton Beam.
What is it like? They get sniped mid-air and split up.
I don't know why they're meowing as they fly through the air. You've been hanging out too much with Kitty, man.
No, it's just the sound that Banelings make, but there's no Banelings in this composition. A big confrontation outside the 5th base of QXC. Thors are shooting every which way, trying to defend. The Roaches are doing a great job, as Roaches against mech is usually a nice thing to do. Transfuses everywhere. Dimaga finally trying to get a greater Spire. Is he really going to come back and win this game, Ben?
It's still going to be a very tall order. Both these guys at about 170 supply. QXC did an incredible job of focusing down Damaga's infestors in that last fight. Not a single infested Terran dropped. I don't think there was more than a single fungal cast throughout that entire engagement. So that was very, very impressive. Damaga working on his 3/3 upgrades for his Roaches. He's going to just max out on Roach Queen, a unique army composition to say the least. He's going to
Oh, he's also seeing those no tanks in this composition. He can surround the Thors. The Queens are also zoning out the Ravens, so they really can't do much to help. Not like they could. They don't even have Seeker Missile. And Damaga is surrounding QXC's army, and he's going to be able to take out this fifth base. I don't believe it, Ben. Dimaga's climbing back in this game.
He's going to lift this command center, and maybe for the first time in the game we'll have a supply lead. Yes, he does. 170 over 160, killing a handful of SCVs. QXC's response is to send out more harassing Hellions. Damaga all over it, though. Great vision because of his great creep spread. These Hellions are going to have to go try and find greener pastures elsewhere, but it doesn't get any greener the further you go on the creep, man.
The deeper you go into creep, man, the darker it gets. The Hellions are all getting cleaned up. Damaga does
still managed to roast quite a handful of drones. It was 12 drones that died
79
there.
workers have been killed.
57 SCVs against 52 drones. Damaga pressuring the front right now with more roaches, but QXC has much too strong of a defensive position. He's going to have to back off of that. Maybe we'll try and... Raven in the mix. All the roaches are going to be surrounded, and most of these guys will die.
Oof. Heavy hitting Thors as they are now 3-3-3. Well, actually, they're just 3-3. I think QXC, he's just had such a big different change of pace. He went from super aggressive to super turtly. And of course, we know that he wanted to build a huge, unkillable mech army, but just... Damaga's been able to outpace him. Look at how fast these Banshees kill a Roach Bird underground. They don't.
It just doesn't happen. Yeah. Damaga has he's really been doing a great job of utilizing his mobility. It looks like he wants to try and pick another fight here with this Thor army sometime soon. QXC's already producing Vikings. He's very afraid of the impending Broodlord switch, but Damaga hasn't made the first Corruptor yet. It's 196 supply for QXC against 180 supply for Damaga, who is going to push forward once more. There's only two siege tanks in this mix. And this looks like an okay engagement for Damaga. Those Vikings essentially dead supply. Thors absorb so much damage with 3-3 upgrades. Oh my gosh, they just don't die. Damaga's going to have to back off of this. That was a great trade for QXC.
Yeah, 4 damage reduction just makes the... I mean, the roaches really feel like they're not doing much. 21 roaches are on the way. Damaga still refusing to make any corrupting because he doesn't have enough time, he feels. Plus, he sees the massive Vikings. He knows he can't just go straight into them. But he is going to directly confront the roaches, picks off several of the tanks to reduce the AoE.
Damaga losing even more roaches there, and this is getting really scary for Dima. He's down to 140 supply. QXC still at 180. Damaga's trying to continue to reload with roaches, but he really doesn't have that much money, Dan. His income is suffering badly. His main's mined out. His natural's mined out. His third base is very thin. And he doesn't have saturation at either his 4th or his 5th. So the actual income for the Zerg player is very, very pitiful comparatively to our Terran player who's dropping mules everywhere and who's just staying maxed out.
QXC going from non-stop relentless aggression to, I guess, turtle stance, and it's going to be very difficult. Although 3 Thors sniped immediately while Damaga's sectioning off the army, Vikings are landing. Vikings actually have really nice DPS.
The Banshees are going to be the all-stars in this fight as there is no way to confront them. And again, Damaga, this time he does manage to kill a few Thors off, but trading ineffectively. He's going to lose more roaches. He's going to come out further behind than he already was. And it's like Damaga keeps taking fights and he keeps killing stuff, but he's just not killing enough. He's not taking good enough engagements. 2 more Thors will get picked off, but it's going to be at the cost of like 8 roaches.
And at this point, you can't keep trading roaches. Damaga's not even mining gases out of his 3rd. He's starting to be limited by that gas resource. Trying to burrow and move to a different base and try to play guerrilla tactics, but there's nothing really that he can do. QXC's pretty fortified. He has tanks at his 4th and 5th base. Although he's going to try to see if he can burrow over here.
QXC's about to mine out his side of the map as well, Dan. There's there's only money left at this corner expansion that Damaga's trying to harass right now. That was ineffective harass. Siege tank picks up 4 more roach kills.
Damaga also going over to the middle of the map, trying to see if he can pick up more units. The amount of Thors that have died this game has been astronomical, but Damaga still willing to trade units, trying to keep QXC down from having an unkillable mech army. Damaga still making roaches, still not mining gas from his 3rd base. He doesn't even have drones working on the other side as the Hellions clean up most of them as well, and they're now going to the natural.
Yeah, Damaga's really reeling right now. He's got 37 drones on the map. They are all at this left side expansion where more Hellions are inbound. Dima does clean it up, but not before losing a handful of drones and more.
100 workers have been killed, Ben.
Drone
100!
Drone genocide here on Ohana right now. QXC still sitting strong at 170 supply. He is mining out his third. He has mined out his other bases. Basically, this fourth expansion is the last one on the map with money. The same is true on Damaga's side of the map, quite frankly. The one thing that I feel like Damaga could use to great effect, the one thing that I think could bring him back into this game is if he started getting some effective use of Neural Parasite. I think Neural on some Thors would help him against the Banshees, and I think it would help him turn some of these engagements around. But if he does not start making Infestors, if he does not get some Neural, I don't really see how it's going to happen.
I mean, even so, QXC is getting Ghosts into his army now, too. So that way he can deal with things like Infestors, maybe even have a sniper or two on some really heavy units like Broodlords. Yeah, Damaga is still just patrolling the map with Roaches, searching for every possible way to trade, but now QXC has a very big army with lots of tanks. All he needs to do is start denying bases, and Damaga really will have no answer left. Still making Roaches, but what is he going to be able to do here? Damaga's going to pick off some reinforcements, which is nice. QXC, actually, I mean, is he going to fall back here?
No, Damaga kills a lot of those reinforcing units, but the brunt of QXC's army is strong. And Damaga just doesn't have the money to continually reload. He's got 7 Roaches in production, and I think those are going to be the last Roaches he makes this game. Damaga's fourth expansion falls. He's got Roaches that are trying to threaten the counterattack on the other side of the map, but it just doesn't seem to matter. QXC has bank, QXC has units, QXC has incredible fighting strength, and you know, I feel like he's got this game in the bag, Dan.
Yeah, oh, as soon as he deals with his last pack of Roaches, Damaga will literally have nothing. This is the last remnants of Damaga's army. He's still making more Roaches, but he doesn't have an answer just to the sheer power of the Thors. Damaga can't run and attack any other base. In fact, the only base he ever needed to deny was this one. But even then, QXC still has a bank, so he can remake several units.
QXC can keep this up for a lot longer than Damaga can. We've got 120 Zerg supply remaining. It's against about 200 Terran supply. 143 Terran army supply against 70 Zerg army supply. So QXC doubling Damaga.
Damaga forced to even remake some drones to try to compensate. Damaga can't really handle this much. Secret missile being researched from QXC just in case, but he's got everything. He's got Thors, siege tanks, Vikings, Ravens, Banshees, even some auto turrets fighting the battle, and SCVs repairing. Damaga held as valiantly as he could, Ben, but the comeback was not able to be complete as QXC is marching over to the last remaining base of Zerg.
What a fantastic game played by both these guys. Damaga was in an awful spot and with some incredible engagements brought himself back to the brink of victory, but at the end of the day, QXC was just too strong. Holds the line, takes out Damaga's final mining base, and is cleaning up the last of Damaga's supply. Man, great game. It'll be QXC's first and only win this season in the North American Star League, but this one, like all of the series he's played, has been memorable. Excellent game, QXC.
QXC takes the series 2-0 over Dimaga, and Kevin Riley showing off mad skills and mad flair. Very, very well done.
Yep, very, very nicely done by QXC. An exceptional game. And again, another nod to Damaga for some really cool engagements there.
Yeah, yeah, and that's how you go out, man, of a season. It was really well played by Damaga. I mean, he was really close to the comeback, but stuck on Lair Tech. He never made a single corruptor, like you pointed out, Ben. Then again, under that circumstance, you feel like you never have the time to.
That's
because
right.
It's like he's constantly pushing, and it's QXC. You never know when he's going to attack.
Last game is brought to you guys by Epson Projectors. They are the world's leading projector brand with a full line of bright projectors with brilliant image quality. Head on over to epson.com/projectors for more details. Our next game is going to be a big one. Sin versus Finale, the battle for first place. Who will win the group? The loser will finish in third. A match of epic proportions. It starts when we get back.